What's up, everyone? Welcome back after long last to Let's Play Batman Arkham Asylum. So I remembered what it was I was missing back in the little cubbyhole back here. So I'm going to go back and we're going to talk a little bit about the Penguin, Mr. Oswald Cobblepot. Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot, who's kind of a shitty villain. So Oswald comes from a wealthy family, but he was so ugly when he was a kid. He was bullied and he felt so rejected he turned to a life of crime. And I believe this is when you backtrack through intensive care later on. There's going to be a riddle here. There's nothing to solve yet. There is a cool little reference to the Iceberg Lounge, which is a club that Penguin started up for the criminal underworld of Gotham. But he himself doesn't really do much. Like, he's not an effective villain. He's more of a nuisance or like a crooked businessman, like he was portrayed in the Penguin Triumphant, I believe it was called. The most he's really done is he ran that nightclub and he kind of called the shots for a couple small-time villains like KG Beast a couple times. Fun fact though, Alfred was once the butler for the Cobblepot family.
I'm surprised you want to intern here at Arkham.
I've always had a thing for extreme personalities. You can't deny there's an element of glamour to these super criminals.
I'll warn you right now, these are hardcore psychotics. Most would rather kill you than speak to you.
I'm sure I'll be fine, Doctor.
They'll eat you for breakfast. I mean it. One or two of them will enjoy it too. Be careful.
I always enjoy hearing the backstory for Harley Quinn. The backstory presented in Arkham Asylum is pretty much a word-for-word recreation of her original origin story from the 90s animated series. Which just, it goes to show you, if it wasn't already apparent, how much love and care was put into not only like just crafting the gameplay, which on its own is really good, but every little detail is very carefully crafted. It's very faithful to the continuity of the comics. It's clearly a labor of love. I love that about it. So I was talking about Alfred just now being, oh, hold on.
I know you can hear me. I've got a little something for you to listen to. Harley and Frank are nearly out of the building with the old man. How are they going to get past all those guards? Let's have a listen, shall we?
Hey Frank, where you been? Joker's got more men on the way. They're coming around the front of the asylum. Gotta stop them getting in, quick! Get over there! Damn, come on, everyone, cover the main entrance!
How many are there, Bowles? Hey, hang on, how the hell do you know what... Bowles! Frank, what are you doing? No, put it down!
Frank, what the hell? Quinn! It's clear, get your ass in here!
It's some piece of work, Frankie. Girls fall for someone like you.
Stop flirting with a hired gal, Harley!
Can't get up
Don't
there.
worry, sweetie. You know I only
There we go.
have eyes for you.
Did you hear that, Bat? Sounds like Frankie's working out just fine. Another valuable employee for the organization.
A little bit more on old Frankie's scumbaggery, Frank Bowles, who we're currently in the process of still tracking down.
Arkham Asylum is at level red alpha. All Category 1 patients will be pacified on site.
So there was this really old storyline about Alfred, since I mentioned him being one time a servant for the Cobblepots, Penguin's family.
Warning.
There's this
Multiple security
really old
breaches
storyline that's just
A6.
ridiculous, where he saves Batman and Robin from a boulder by pushing them out of the way on his dirt bike, and he gets crushed to death. And you know comics can't really keep anyone dead. Like, resurrection in comics is about as common as the sun rising in the morning. And I'll talk more about that in just a second, because we have our first Chronicle of Arkham.
I am the spirit of Amadeus Arkham. Through my actions, I have saved this cursed city though my own curse is to forever remain in the shadows. My story is carved into the very soul of Arkham, and will only be revealed to those dedicated enough to discover it.
And we will discover it because, like I said, I'm not 100%ing the game. I am going to go after all of the chronicles. Oh, shut up. I didn't mean to hit that again. So, Batman buries his friend, his lifelong companion and butler, Alfred. After he is crushed to death by a boulder. But Alfred's love and devotion for Batman and his desire to keep Batman and Robin safe from harm gives him somehow the will to survive being crushed to death, and somebody exhumes his body because this guy hears Alfred in the grave. And the guy who exhumes him brings him back to life with some wacky bullshit device that turns Alfred into some kind of alien rock monster with these insane King Midas-style powers. And for some reason, Alfred becomes hellbent on being a villain. But it's not like he has complete amnesia. Like, he knows Batman's Bruce Wayne. He remembers all that shit. He just, for some reason, goes full evil. He's a random heel turn. And he becomes known as the Outsider, this alien rock monster. And his superpower that he somehow gets from this device that brings him back to life lets him turn Robin into a giant coffin.
Oracle, Joker's men have taken control of the cell block transfer corridor.
That's not good. I patched into a guard radio. It sounds like Joker's crew have got their hands on weapons.
I know. I'll calibrate the Cowl's vision mode to isolate armed henchmen. The direct approach is suicide. I need to be smart, find a different way past them.
Alright, so now we're gonna start to get into the stealth mechanics. And remember, last time I upgraded my silent takedown so that I can now do inverted takedowns from the gargoyles. That's gonna come in handy in the next room. For now, though, the guards with the worst hearing ever and absolutely, like, no range of motion in their necks to see what's going on, no peripheral vision, none of that. They were set to guard this door. From what? I don't know. Like, the Joker takes his henchmen and he doesn't train them. He doesn't go, okay, this guy, he's dressed as a bat. He really likes to take the indirect approach, cover each other's backs. No, they just, everyone face forward, be ineffective.
Oh, look who it is. Are your pointy ears burning? I suppose I'd better warn my boys you're on the way. Hey, maybe I won't. It'll be a nice surprise.
Perfect line. I completely forgot about that. So he really doesn't have any regard for his henchmen. Like, doesn't warn them it's coming, doesn't train them. I love it. I love shitty comic henchmen.
Arkham Asylum is now under new management. Here's a quick update on what's going on. Some idiot is running around the asylum dressed like a bat. I know! Crazy! Stop him before he gets someone hurt. Really, it's for his own good.
This coming up is one of my favorite takedown animations. Oh, come on, path forward. Come on.
You know what? I have a good feeling about this.
Yeah! Alright. Just gonna wait for you. And... No, he's getting... Oh, no. Do you see me? No! Okay, I could still salvage this. I was gonna glide kick him, but no! God damn it, he got past. I couldn't do the ledge takedown. Okay. Plan C? Plan C is the least elegant, least flashy, but... Oh well. Well, we'll live with that. Shit. Okay, now get up here and wait for the next wave.
Easy, bats. I've sent a few more of my boys your way. Let's see how you deal with these odds.
Joker wants him found. Spread out. He could be anywhere. Then keep your eyes open. Now move.
Okay. So while I go and pick these 3 guys off. I think there's like 4 or 5 on hard, which makes it a much more interesting room. Might switch the difficulty over after the end of this episode. Just gonna hang out here and wait for the inverted takedown that I got last episode. Yeah, you just abduct him. Oh man, that's so cool. String him up. Now, can I get to this guy while he's pathing underneath to find his buddy? Yeah. Okay, and then that leaves the other one alone. Yeah, I'll get another one of these takedowns, my favorites. Because one is not enough.
You can take it. Probably. Well, between you and me, it's statistically unlikely. Oh, boo! You win again, Babs. I'll savor it. I'll get you next time.
Okay, note that there's a little green sheen that kind of flickers across the walls here, the wall in the back. That is a clue that there is a riddle nearby, but first we have an interview tape.
Patient interview number 1.
So, I'm your first, am I, Toots? You know what they say, you never forget your first time. I'll try to make it memorable for you.
Oh, you already have. Tell me, why do you do the things you do?
Why do you think I do it?
Fame, notoriety, a desire to stand out from the crowd, a wicked sense of humor.
You're good. How did you figure me out, Doc? I've had doctors poking around in here for years, and no one was as astute, and if you don't mind my saying, beautiful as you.
Really? You're just playing with me.
Well, you'll never know, will you? Unless...
Unless what? Tell me.
So, Harley Quinn starts out as a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum and then quickly becomes enamored with the Joker, who turns her into a sidekick / love interest. But like I was saying before, that green shimmer across the wall indicates that there's a riddle nearby. I don't think any of the riddles actually start appearing, though, until you solve this initial one coming up.
Joker must have figured out how I was tracking Gordon. Officer Bowles' trail stops here.
Okay, so I don't know what the trigger is. It might just be time-based. Soon, one Mr. Edward Nigma is going to somehow call me on the old codex or the radio, whatever. Stimulates the small bone in your ear.
Yes, it is I, Edward Nigma, the Riddler, and more importantly, your intellectual superior. My genius has allowed me to easily hack into your primitive communications. My goal is simple. You complete a series of amusingly taxing challenges and, well, you'll see. Ready for your first one? Good. But be careful. Don't cut yourself on this sharply observed portrait. So you did it! Well done! I would have expected a child to work that one out, let alone the world's greatest detective.
So there are tons and tons of riddles throughout the game. Some of them are presented to you like the one we just saw. Some of them, well, you'll see the other kind of riddle shortly after we have another cutscene coming up.
It was a massacre. Bowles came walking in telling everyone to cover the front entrance. Said something about Joker's army coming through the main gate. 2 of my guys moved to the exit, and Frank shot him dead. They never stood a chance.
Was Bowles alone?
Thought he was. Then I saw Harley Quinn. She was surrounded by Black Gate prisoners. They were just killing everyone in the room. I had no choice. I got in here, locked the door. I could see it on the security feed. They had someone with them. It looked like the commissioner.
Bowles is dead. They carried on without him. Must have outlived his usefulness.
Good. He was scum.
The guard here is just describing what exactly went down after we heard the transmission earlier, cut to static.
After Maria.
Trying to get the next riddle in this area to trigger. So most of the riddles will have you finding things that are kind of an Easter egg type nature. Like the initial story triggered one back there that you have to complete to progress is to find the portrait of the warden of Arkham Asylum, Quincy Sharp. There we go. Now once I zone... Yeah, that did it. Okay, so now that I've zoned back into... What is this? No, this isn't the lobby area, right? Whatever this area is called, of the intensive care ward, we get a different riddle. And this one involves going into detective mode right over here, and you're looking to align a couple different parts of a question mark to form the whole question mark.
Don't get too full of yourself, Dark Knight. It only gets harder from here.
Yeah, it definitely does get a lot harder from here. I'm gonna be completing a decent amount of the riddles, at least all of the ones that lead to some kind of character-based Easter egg. Like, there's a lot... You'll see what I mean coming up. There's a lot of riddles that are just like, find an item that in some way relates to a really obscure character, and those are great, especially for this playthrough. Like this riddle right here, they're great for this playthrough because they let me talk about characters who are a little bit on the obscure side, like Jack Ryder here.
For this interruption to our regular broadcast, Jack Ryder is live from the Gotham Bay area with some breaking news.
This is Jack Ryder with breaking news in the Gotham Bay. We're getting reports of an armed siege on Arkham Island. 2 minutes ago, Joker broadcast to all news channels this chilling message.
Greetings, Gotham. This is the voice of your new master. Oh, hang on.
So, Joker's broadcast back there wasn't that important. Jack Ryder is a fairly obscure character. He's a villain known as the Creeper. He's a bit of like a Jekyll and Hyde type. So at some point, I think he ingested some kind of formula that allowed him to turn into this giant animalistic beast person. And he has no recollection of whenever he transforms. So he had this ongoing gimmick for a while where he would set up a reward for the capture of the Creeper, not knowing that he transforms into the Creeper. And aside from that, he's not really all that interesting. Or at least, you know, I don't know that for sure. Because I'm honestly not familiar with any major stories that he's been a part of. But yeah, that's Jack Ryder, journalist and monster. Oh, also, he had his own comic spin-off that was canceled after like 6 issues. But that is going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.